Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and thank you for joining me another week. In today's video, we're going to be working on the Oliver 70 a little bit more. And the very first thing we got to do is clean that greasy, dirty engine off. There it sits. Let's get this thing hoisted up, cap off a couple of the openings, and then spray it down with some cleaner. And then we will try to power wash it. See how clean we can get it. Yeah. A bolt?
Like a little screw. Where's the little one?
I'm actually taking the distributor off because I have a magneto that I'm going to put on this instead, and just because I think it's tidier with a magneto rather than the big distributor and coil mounted out here. So anyway, I'm going to take this off real fast. Oh, gotta be careful. I sprayed this engine with oven cleaner, and it does a pretty good job of breaking down the grease. And it's cheap if you buy it from the dollar store. So anyway, that's my preferred degreaser. But let me go grab some gloves and let's grab that. Let's pop that off while this is coming off. This hasn't started in, probably over a year. So the old AR did a good job. We got to move it out of the way so that we can get this 70 standard out of the way. Hate working at night. Well, we decided to back it in because it's much easier to just lift up the front and push it. And I wanted to just get it back far enough because I'm going to be working on the engine and putting that in. And so might as well have it back far so that I'm not trying to push the engine hoist over that seam. But yeah, this is just such a cool little tractor. It's so like small, and like the wheelbase on this is just tiny compared to a row crop. So anyway, that's really why, like, when I saw this, I instantly thought, oh, I've got to have that. So anyway, But we've got a lot to do if we're going to get that engine set in here tonight. I just spent the last probably 2.5 hours power washing that tractor and also the engine. The engine is substantially better. I mean, I don't know if you could tell last week on the video just how greasy and grimy everything was, but you can still see there's some places where I wasn't able to get. I mean, it is dark outside, so it's hard to see, but behind the starter, down, underneath the starter, but man, everywhere else cleaned up really nicely. And I wasn't planning on power washing the tractor, but there was just so much grime and grease down inside of kind of that tub behind the transmission, or excuse me, in front of the transmission, but behind that bell housing. I was amazed. Oh, and also up here, tons of grease. I don't even know where it comes from. But, it was just so much that I had to take some time and just power wash everything. This is one of those cases when having one of those like hot water power washers would have been fantastic, but I didn't have that. So because of that, it took, I don't know, probably 10 times as long, but we did get it done. And yeah, I'm glad I took some time to do it now, because now I don't have to take the engine out after I get it put back in. I mean, we can just kind of leave it in, and I don't know, it might be hard to paint around everything with the engine in there, but at least the engine won't have to come out, to clean it. So anyway, let me show you what we have going on with this little 70 standard though, because there's a little bit more work than I was thinking, but I think we should still be able to get it done tonight. The bell housing right here is held in place by these pins that go through here. And you probably remember from last week when I was pulling those pins out of the row crop. Just go right in there. And I didn't realize it until now that one of the pins is missing and then the other one is half in. So it's going to be a little bit tricky probably trying to get that pin in. I think I might have to also disconnect it back there to just allow us a little bit more play. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But we've got the bell housing here, but we don't have the clutch. The clutch and everything is on this. So the first few things we got to do is get that bell housing pinned in place. And then the other thing is let's pop this clutch cover off and look inside of here and see what we've got to work with inside there. But anyway, I'm going to go grab the pins from the 70, the row crop 70, and we'll see if we can get them in there. If you look, I was able to line up the bell housing bore with the hole right here in the frame pretty easily with just a 10-pound sledge. Well, no, actually it was a 5-pound sledge and a block of wood. And now with this bolt, not the bolt, but the pin, it's got a good taper on it. It should hopefully go right in. Well, should go right in. Let me go get my dead blow and I'll pound that in. Let that grease down. So I think I've identified a problem, but I may have a solution already. See, the bell housing is installed in the engine, in the frame. And you can see the clutch shaft with the throwout bearing right there is extending, forward. But the engine right here, when I install it, I also have this center post for the front. And so what I had was the center post on this engine was sticking down, straight down, And so with that center post sticking down, there would have been no way to push the engine back in on that clutch shaft while that post was sticking down here. So I had two options. I could have removed the bell housing from the frame back there and pulled it out and then installed it right here on the engine, right here. Or I could have, what I've done is I've tried doing this, I just removed the shaft. Well, let me show you. Or what I could do was remove that front engine mount post, that threaded stud that was sticking down here. You know, it stuck down probably 6 inches or so. So I just removed that, and it's sitting over here. Something else right here. So I just removed that threaded stud, and I'm hoping that now, with that removed, I can still have enough space to go down and then straight back onto that clutch shaft right there. So I don't know. Hopefully that works. If not, then I've got to pull that whole bell housing out, and it's just more of a headache. But anyway, let's just keep going, assuming that we'll be able to get this engine put in. Now, another thing that we're going to have to take care of at a later date is, since we've got solid engine mount here and here, you know, that can technically pivot forward and back like that, and we've got shims on either side to center it, and then we've got this center mount up here, and we've got shims underneath that to lift the front of the engine up and down. All of that needs to happen in order to align this clutch shaft with the transmission shaft that's under there. So since I'm not doing that right now because I don't have my dial indicator with me, I am just going to be installing the engine. I've disconnected the clutch shaft from the transmission shaft, and you know, we'll have to come back up, and I think for clearance reasons, I'm gonna have to remove all of this, the whole pulley, belt pulley, and probably the steering box too. So quite a bit of disassembly, just so that then I can ensure or do the alignment check with a dial indicator. But you have to do it. I don't think there's any way around it. So that's something that we'll have to take care of at a later date. But right now, let's go ahead and let's dig into this engine. Let's pull that clutch cover off and see what we've got inside. Not too bad. Okay, let's pull the starter off, and then let's take this bell housing off of the engine. Separate everything. The clutch is going to stay there, and everything should still be aligned because I'm not going to remove the clutch or anything. So yeah, so close. There we go. So close. Got it. And with that oil filter off, now we can remove the starter. There we go. Done. Okay, I think that's everything. So now I should just be able to slide this back. Oh yeah, piece of cake. There it is. So now what I want to do before we mount the engine onto this bell housing is use this file. You can see I've already used it a little bit, but I want to use that file to clean off all of the rust and scale from this mating surface, so that then we have a good, clean, solid, flat mounting surface. Okay. I think I'm just going to clean this up, and I'm just going to reuse the throwout bearing that came off of that other engine, because this one is just completely rusty. So This one isn't rusty, but it is a greasy mess. So I did put a tiny bit of grease just on this collar right here where the throwout bearing rides frontwards and backwards. I do not know if I was supposed to do that or not, but it seems like a thin layer of grease there isn't a bad idea. Obviously you don't want it, you know, flinging off and getting onto your clutch, but I don't know. I didn't think it was a bad idea. I mean, it was a very, very thin amount. Now, let me wipe up the extra and do up that spring, and then we're ready to throw the engine in. Okay. Can't do it. Can't do it. Well, I fought and fought and fought last night, and I could not get the engine and the bell housing lined up. I do not think it can be done. You know, maybe in the row crop, I don't know. You know, I didn't go through this with the row crop, but with the standard, it's impossible. See, the issue is right here, these notches in the frame. They've got these notches put in here so that then the bell housing, the bell housing pins go right here, but the width right here on both sides, this has to squeeze down inside the frame, and it will only squeeze down inside the frame right here. The problem was I couldn't get the, you know, the clutch shaft is sticking out this far, and so I could not scoot the engine back far enough to get it to line up with this notch because the input shaft was here. And then I tried tilting it and just, in the end, I did what I didn't want to do, but I think I have to, is take that, what do you want to call it, that bell housing out. And the reason I didn't want to do that is just because I'm worried that trying to get those shims back in here is going to be next to impossible. I don't know. But anyway, now with the bell housing off and the engine still standing there, you know, we can easily mate those two back together. There we go. Now what I need to do is I need to put these two long bolts in, because you can see that it acts also as an alignment dowel. So let me get my hammer, pound that in.
Don't they screw in?
Nope, there's a nut on the back.
Okay, it is.
You know, from the beginning, I said all I was trying to do was put this engine in the chassis because the chassis makes a pretty good engine stand. I don't need to worry right now about all of the alignment of the engine with the transmission. I'm probably going to end up taking this engine back out. You know, it's got so many oil leaks. I probably got to, you know, at least take the head off, take the bottom off, and just start digging into it. So until then, I'm just going to put the engine into the tractor just like I planned. I'm not gonna worry about the shimming and all of that. We'll take care of that when the engine is running good. So let's do that real quick. Turn it down? Yeah.
Whoa, whoa. Whew. All of a sudden. Whew. Should I go up or are you okay?
Yeah, go up. Push in.
Okay. I know where we can get one of these for $150.
Okay, now jack it up just a little bit. Keep going.
Got it?
Not quite yet. Jack it up a tiny bit more.
We can get this thing going. This is a very interesting little tractor.
I know.
Is it going or not?
There it goes.
The radiator hose thing is going to hit, but I guess. Whoop.
And the engine is in. I feel a lot better about that. I don't feel as defeated. Just a little bit defeated. It's interesting though, you can really see there's about 4 inches less space, about 4 inches between the bell housing and the transmission on this standard. But it's just really cool. I love the look of this, and I went and I put the seat on it. I don't know how. There's really not much space there. I might have to do some bending or something on that. I might be able to scoot back one more. I probably could. But yeah, everything looks really good. Over on this side, I got the starter put back on. I haven't put the oil filter back on, but yeah, feel good about that. Now, one thing that's interesting is I did swap, I was just pulling a lot of parts off of that other row crop 70, and like this was one of the parts because on this standard, one of these ears was broken off, and I was like, well, I'll grab it. So I grabbed this, and when I took this off, there's a bunch of water down in here. So I'm betting that down inside of that rear end, there's a lot of water. This thing has sat outside for so long. I mean, since we've had it, it's been in, it's been undercover, but it's been apart a long time. Actually, the story about this 70 standard is what happened was the guy that we bought it from, the engine was frozen, and I think either him or someone, a relative, I can't remember exactly who, but they went and they just started pulling it down the blacktop road in front of their house, going pretty good, and then popped the clutch out on it. And I guess when it did that, he said that it shattered the block. I don't know if exactly what happened. I didn't see it, but that's kind of where this 70 standard came from without an engine, was because the engine, was destroyed. But I do have the serial number off of the engine that was on, that came with this 70. So I might look at switching that serial number over so that then, everything matches. But yeah, it's fun. I get excited like seeing this, but there's just so much work to do with this. And I don't think that I'm going to finish it anytime soon. It's just going to be one of those back burner projects. So anyway, if you guys like the 70 standard, let me know, because I can work on it more. But if it's, not really anything that people have interest for, then I'll just, like I say, put it on the back burner. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching this week's video. And as always, I'll see you next week with another one.